Hey, people. My instinct is always to say good morning. I know it's not morning, but for me, it's the start of the day. So it's like good morning. But good morning. Welcome back to Let's Chit and Chat. And that is exactly what we're going to do. I probably won't be on here that long today because I have a full day with my job today. So we'll probably wrap it up in 30 minutes today, but I still wanted to be consistent and come through. So thank you for whoever is joining me. I appreciate having you here. Let's see. Hey, Mickey. Mickey, I was thinking about you yesterday. Yesterday was the 27th. And if y'all were here last week when Mickey was here, um, I was telling him I was counting down for him because his retirement was March the 27th. He said he would be officially retired. So he said, I'm playing with my channel name. Okay, relaxing on the couch is a good channel name because that's exactly what you can do. So I'm feeling it. Uh, yeah, I remembered. I thought about you yesterday. And when I came live yesterday, I didn't see you on here, so I didn't say anything about it. But I thought about you yesterday. Hey, Tanisha, my UAB Good Times Click bestie. Thank you for tuning in and always supporting me. Um, what else we got? Before I forget, I don't know if she's listening today, but today is one of my Birmingham besties' birthday. My best friend Shonda. She I don't say how old she is, but we the same age, but she's a week older than me. She's a whole 7 days older than me, right? So every time her birthday comes, I always tease her all 7 days to ask her how it feel to be like when we turned 40. We're turning 40, and I was still 39. I would call her or text her every day, be like, you remember when you was 39? How it feel to be 40? And then, if we go out, of course I had to tell people she's a year older than me. And she always be like, you need to cut it out. But today is her birthday, and I hope she is having a fabulous day. I'm sure she took the day off, so that's why I don't know if she's listening or not today. Um, so we got Shonda's birthday, Mickey then retired. Tanisha, we need something. What's gonna be our big hurrah? I know I won't be retiring. And it's funny, I was a guest on Tanisha's in her class yesterday. She's a professor. She is the professor, baby. So she teaches the class in the field we went to school for, which is HIM. And she usually asks me at least once a quarter? Hey, the hood table. You see, you threw me with that Tanya's Delight, but when I seen Slice by Slice, yeah, I knew we was talking about Tanya because y'all also see her on here at the hood table, but she a beast in the kitchen with them cakes, y'all. So check out her Tanya's Delight Slice by Slice also, but don't look at it if you're hungry because you're gonna be more hungry when you click on it. But yeah, Tanisha had me on as a guest speaker, and it's so funny because whenever she asked me to come on, I had to keep in mind you talking to people who want to go to school and do this. You know what I'm saying? The realistic part of me be like, this some bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. So I got on and I started talking, and I caught myself kind of leaning over to the I'm so sick of my job. And then I had to kind of steer it back in the road to you. You made a good choice. But I'm just very realistic. I tell people all the time when they ask me, and people get caught up in the fact that I'm able to work from home. Of course, now it's not that big of a deal because after COVID, pretty much everybody was who could was working from home. So it's not that big of a deal anymore. But I started working from home in 2015, and a lot of people would get all caught up in that hype and like, oh, you get to work from home and blah 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 blah. But I think the job is like I was telling them when I was speaking yesterday. And I'm sorry, Tanisha, did they really not hear me? I heard them. She said at the end that some of the students were saying I was choppy. I wish they had told me while I was talking, and I could have like I don't know what I could have did because the phone was in one position. But I I love your channel, Melissa, because you do not do it. Oh no, this is not a beefing channel. This is a financial education and a relax and unwind channel. Beefing and fighting and stuff take too much energy. I ain't got no extra energy to put into doing all that when I could be doing other stuff, you know. But talk to her class and I'm telling them and trying to let them know that all of the things, the qualities that will make you good at what we do. And it's discipline, being able to multitask, being a self-starter is a good thing. You have to have an eye for detail because for me, I'm an auditor. So I'm reading and reading and reading and reading all damn day. I am not a fan of reading. I don't even care for reading like entertaining stuff. So you give me boring stuff like looking at people's charts all day, and it's like snooze fest. So that is really how I got into YouTube because I can't work with the TV on. I'm one of those people that if a TV is on, the work gonna be here, and if the TV over there, my eyes is over here with the TV, and I ain't getting nothing done. Now I can work with music on. That doesn't bother me. And then I figured out if I've got YouTube on in the background, I can still work and do that. Now sometimes I ain't gonna lie, sometimes I will stop and be like, because my computer is over here for my personal stuff. Then I have my two monitors for the job over here. So I'll come through. I'll be like this. Then I have to remember you supposed to be looking over here. You looking at some chart now, Tanisha? They're like, yeah, we basically what I do is I read, and if the insurance company is denying a claim or something, it's my job to go through piece by piece, page by page, word by darn word, and find a way to appeal it and make them pay. Even me describing it sound boring, so I ain't even gonna take y'all no further than this. But yeah, I was on there talking to her students, and I was like, good luck with everything you got going. And I wanted to tell them, I hope y'all prepared to be bored. I hope this the type of work you want to do, and just clock in and get paid because it ain't no joy to it at all. I'm not who you want to be your motivational speaker when it comes to our our career choice. And it's not, I think one of the biggest issues is it's not anything that I've sought out. So one thing I was sharing with her class yesterday is most of the time, people who ended up in health information management, we got there by default, like a default or it wasn't intentional. Because I know for me personally, my original, and Tanisha too, I know she was also, we were both, when we finished, we're going to school, wanted to go to school for pharmacy. So I did my first 2 years at a junior college. And then when it was time to transfer, Alabama has only two pharmacy schools in the state. Auburn, which is in Auburn, Alabama, and Sanford, which is in Birmingham. If you don't get into those two, that when you apply, you got to wait a whole another year to apply. So, I was the type of student, I've always been very disciplined, had great grades. When I finished high school, I had 3.9 GPA. No, I had 4.0 when I finished high school. When I finished the first 2 years at junior college, I had a 3.97. So I'm thinking, everything that I've ever applied for or applied myself to, I've been able to achieve it. So I'm just thinking this is going to be like everything else and I'm going to get in. Well, I didn't get in. I did the interview and, I was being forced to realize that just like you did everything you needed to do, it's 700-800 other people in Alabama. Because I know at Auburn, when I applied, they said they had 500 applicants. And all of them probably grades looking just like or better than mine. So they were only taking, I forget how many they were taking. I think they were taking, I don't want to lie, but it wasn't even close to 500. And I know Sanford was only taking 50. So it was like, I was devastated. And I'm like, I didn't even have a plan B because I'm like, this is what I know I'm going to be a pharmacist. And even with the pharmacy thing, I'm going to be honest. I did it because I knew it probably be good money and I thought it was an easy job, other than having to stand up all day. But I'm really wanted to do like commercials and stuff. Like I always like to do things where you're allowed to be creative. So like I watched a lot of Bewitched. Darren was always working on these jingles and stuff for the client and all that. And I used to love that because I was like, there's something I can do. I can make commercials. I can do this. And, so I always thought I would have a career where I would get to use my creative side. Well, Willie King, who was my dad, was like, no, you ain't doing it. You're going to pick out something where you're going to always have a job and you're going to make some good money. Well, I don't need you doing nothing that they can find somebody to do a dime a dozen. And at the time, I just couldn't get it why he was so insistent that, advertising wouldn't be a successful career. But honey, he had his mindset about that. Now, the first 2 years, I had a full scholarship when I went to the junior college. But then when I transferred up to UAB after those first 2 years. And he actually paid out of pocket for me to go to school for the next couple of years to finish. So he came home from work one day. He's got his, at that time he had his master's in nursing. He was teaching at a junior college here. Since then, like I told y'all, he's gotten his doctorate. But at that time he got his master's, so he worked with nurses, and then they have all the other health related fields, like you got radiology, anesthesiologist, all the different other little stuff that's not a nurse, not a doctor, but is medical related. So he brought me home like a brochure with all these health related professions. And I'm looking at them and I'm like, I'm supposed to be a pharmacist. I ain't supposed to be looking at this mess. But his answer to me, even though I ain't saying that out loud, but his thing with me was, look, you didn't get in. Ain't nothing you can do about it. You're not finna sit here and feel sorry for yourself and mope around for the next year until you can apply again. You need to find you something else. So it's time to get a plan B. So I'm laying on the couch, got the blues, and he basically shut that down and was like, this not what we doing. So, I'm going through the catalog, and, for pharmacy, I had, my background for prereq and stuff. I had taken my math, my English, I had done regular chemistry, organic chemistry, calculus, all this stuff. So I'm like, okay, yeah, occupational therapy is another one, Tanisha. I had taken some pretty up there classes, so I'm like trying to look and see, it used to be, if they're computerized now, but it used to be you had a book and you could kind of go through and see what prereqs were required or what degrees. So I'm comparing the classes I've already taken and what I would have to take for whatever I changed to. And the one that came closest to it was HIM. So yeah, I know. I know to me it's so funny because Tanisha and I met our final year at school, and we both came from very small towns. She's from a small town in Georgia. I'm from a small town in Alabama. She graduated salutatorian of her class. I graduated salutatorian of my class. She wanted to be a pharmacy major. I wanted to be a pharmacy major. Had never met, didn't know nothing about each other. And fate and the Lord allowed our paths to cross because both of us had to come up with a plan B. And it was this bullshit that we do for this. And I'm going to quit saying that because I don't want y'all to think I'm not grateful. I'm grateful, but I'm just honest. I mean, it's not a very gratifying job. It's like you're the one that gets blamed when stuff goes wrong. People don't notice you until something is behind or out of order. And then the rest of the time they kind of forget about you. Because whoever grew up thinking about they wanted to work in the it used to be called medical records. Now it's called HIM or HIT. Who dreams of growing up and working in the medical record department? Nobody I know. I didn't even know they had one. And the crazy part was, okay, so I chose HIM based on the prereqs and what I had already taken. So you get to UAB, and I continued taking the rest of the classes that I hadn't taken. I had to do, and I don't know why they had us to take a micro and macroeconomics class. And honestly, number one, I ain't learned nothing. And number two, it ain't got nothing to do with what we do. I'm like, why am I taking? I didn't get it. So, had to take that. Had to take some IT classes, some English. What she say? Tanisha said, you the lawyer, secretary, and the tech. I don't know why they had us taking some of that mess. What else did we take that I felt like was unnecessary? Well, we had to take pathophysiology, but we needed all that because, pretty much we take the same coursework as nurses. The only difference is we don't have to do what do you call it? We don't have patients. We don't, interact with patients. So we had to do a intern, but it's not like when the nurses have to go and do it on the floor. Ours was, a different type of internship. So all of us had to do that before we finished and everything. But like I told y'all the other day, I don't have a bedside manner. I don't like dealing with folks when they feel good. So I know I don't want to deal with them when they sick. So even though that would have made my dad as hard skip a beat, I had to go on and had to go and disappoint him. I'm not doing it. I am not. I put my foot down. So, get to school, start taking our classes, and then we finally get to the point where we're in our, we're in our program. The last year is just for, people who will be graduating with that degree. Before you take classes with everybody. So we're in our last year and, go to the thing. And it was only like, 14, 15 of us that year that was going to be finishing. And so I get to class, sit down, I'm looking like, okay. And, everybody been asking me, because, everybody knew I'm from, like I said, a small town. People know you. And they know she was going to be a pharmacist, blah, 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 blah. So people, when I'm going home and stuff, they like, well, how's school going? You still doing the pharmacy? I'm like, no, I'm not doing the pharmacy. I didn't get in. And, it was like, ugh, I hated having to say that, but, I ain't going to lie. But, so they asked me what I was doing. So I'm going for health information management. And they like, what's that? And you know what, to be honest, I didn't know what it was. I thought I was going to be how you have the hospital CEO, like the one that's over the hospital and administration and all that. I ain't gonna lie, I thought they would be going to school. So I'm like, I said, it's like the business part of the hospital, the administrative part, I'm gonna be doing that. So they're like, okay, I ain't have a clue. So we did our classes and stuff, and that's when I met my UAB besties, Tanisha and Stephanie, and we going through and I told this story too. I always tell this story because I have to give Ms. Ingram credit for a couple of things. Number one, I have to give her credit for explaining to me what the hell we was going to school for. Because, when we started doing our what do you call them? I forget what you call them, but where you have to go out and actually work in the field and get some hands-on stuff. What you call that, Tanisha? We started doing those, our rotations or whatever. So we went over to UAB and we're in the conference room and somebody comes in and they willing this big cart with all these charts or clinicals. Yeah, we had to do our clinicals at different hospitals in the area and stuff. So, we went to UAB first. And like I said, we sitting there waiting. And they come wheeling in this big cart of dusty charts. And I'm like, what? Why are they bringing us this? So my bestie leans over and tell me, Nut, this what you going to school for? And I'm like, I'm stunned. I'm like, what what we gonna be doing with chart? I ain't have a clue. I'm just all I knew was I was going to school, I was doing the work, but I didn't know exactly what my career was gonna be or what my day to day was gonna be when I finished this program. And I'm already in the last year of it. So after that sucked the air out of my balloon and I found out I wasn't about to be a CEO, I had to regroup and try to make this work. So, um, we got through it, we finished, we had to sit for a certification, we passed our certification and started working. So I got my first job and went paying nowhere near, well, which they never did. Now they ain't fools now. They ain't tell you were gonna be making $1 million when you get started. In fact, that was Tanisha's shining moment when she found out what the starting salary for us might possibly be. Honey, she had a meltdown because she like, I know like hell, we ain't went to school all this time for me to make that damn little taste of money. She was going on. And it was funny to me because I didn't know what we were going for. And she thought we was gonna be some balls. And yeah, we was both. It was severely wrong. So I got my first job over at Children's and it wasn't a bad, we were going for management. So the idea was to be in management positions in health information management departments. So I had been working part-time and I did my internship over at Children's. So when it came time for us to graduate, I already had a rapport with the manager over there. And she did offer me a job as a supervisor. So I was fortunate that I was able to get a job in my field right out of school. But the thing was the pay, which and for real, that was no issue either for real because um they told me they said, well, we can only start you off in my job. This is 1997. This isn't 2023. And because in 2023, they pay fast food people more than what they paid me when I started working. I started working for $9.25 an hour as a supervisor at a what was it like it Children's is like the biggest children's pediatric hospital in the area. So it was like, but they weren't paying for $9. So I was still working part time at Taco Bell, and they weren't paying for $4.35. So that $9 looked real good. So for a while, I still did both, but eventually I ended up letting Taco Bell go. And the only saving grace that job had was they told me I could have as much overtime as I want. What they tell me that for? I ain't had no kids. I ain't had no relationship. Uh, I ain't had nothing to do but work. So when y'all say I can have as much overtime as I want, when I tell y'all I might as well have packed my clothes and moved in to Children's Hospital because I was there every day, all day into the night because I was the second and third shift supervisor. So I would get up and go to work like 12 o'clock and I didn't really have to be there at 2:30. I was supposed to get off at 11. I come in at 12. I worked at 2 or 3 in the morning. And that's when I met my bestie Shonda, the one whose birthday is today. She was working there when I was doing my internship, and then after I got to know her, and then after I got hired on, I was her supervisor. Her and another one of our friends, because I said me and my friends always in threes, so it was me, Shonda, and Jada. So we, it was like we were all around the same age, and had the same similar personalities. So it was, even though it was a job, it didn't feel like work. It kind of felt like you were hanging out with your girlfriends and you slid work in there because it was cool. So there would be times, since they said I could have as much overtime as I wanted, I would end up with, I remember one paycheck where I had 84 hours of overtime in addition to my 80 hours of regular time. So that just lets you know how much I was coming in on weekends. I was working, and there really was work. So it wasn't like I was cheating the system. So that was my first job and my first encounter with management. And what I learned about management is I don't want to do it because even though people used to always tell me I was good at it and I had a good personality for it, because I was fair, you know. So if you're on the receiving end of it, you like that. But from my standpoint, I was babysitting a bunch of grown women. It was like two or three guys that worked on, third shift. But for the most part, babysitting grown folks that didn't get along, used to have stupid fights about stuff. And I just was like, I'm not the type of person that can leave something at the job. Like, I'm still worried about it when I get home if it didn't resolve the way it should. So management was taking too much out of me. But I stuck to management for years until I decided to switch over to the coding aspect. And I'll say this story for another day, because then y'all get to hear part two of how Tanisha stepped in and gave me some good advice that got me where I am today. But yeah, the first one was letting me know what we was going to school for, because I was lost. But yeah, when I was speaking to her class yesterday, I was trying to keep it, because even now when I hear people, now if they're already in their field, I won't say anything. But like when I hear people that haven't started school yet, and Tanya said our job has unlimited overtime from fall to spring every year. Girl, that's how I used to be. I'm telling you, when I had that check that had them 84 hours overtime on it, you couldn't tell me nothing. I was a baller. And that was back when you still went to the bank. And this before direct deposit. So girl, you couldn't tell me nothing. And so yeah, when I talk to young people now, and let's say they're senior year, they haven't really chosen, or they're in college and they haven't chosen a major yet. And that's kind of like what's going on with well, my daughter's brother. I want to say stepson, but it's still funny saying stepson, because while I was married to his dad, I never really met him or spent any time with him. We've only met him. Times I usually get 80 hours of OT per check. Girl, you be balling. In this day and age, see, if I was getting that type of overtime now, and then I know what I know about this home-based business and finance, oh yeah, you won't be able to tell me nothing. That's why I regret, I do, like I said, my other focus for my channel is financial. So with my home-based business, we teach people about personal finance. I didn't start doing the business until after I left the job where I was getting all the overtime. Had I known, I would have been having that check looking real, real good, and my retirement would have been looking even better. But you live and you learn. But yeah, when my daughter's older brother, he's 19. He graduated last year, and this was his first year in school. And initially he was talking about, you know, he wanted to go to medical school. And I am not the type to discourage anybody. I know how I was. I was going to pharmacy school, and it's like when you first get started, you have all these high hopes. But then a lot of times when people get in there and look at that coursework, that's when things start changing. Because my brother claimed he was going to nursing school, but he was on the football team. I knew that was a bad idea from the jump. I'm like, do you know how demanding nursing is as far as like school? That ain't gonna work. And they gonna have y'all doing 2 days and practice and out of town stuff. And then plus he ain't like doing work. He took a test or nothing on his own. Other people did his homework all the way through school. And you think he's gonna get through UAB nursing program? No. So, when I meet people now and they're trying to figure it out, my advice is always, and I don't want to seem discouraging when I hear people say majors that certain majors, and it's like, how do I say it? Some of them, when they tell you what you're going to school for, you already kind of know how that's going to end up. And like what kind of money they're going to be making, that they're going to be overworked and underpaid, and you don't want to bust their bubble, but at the same time, you're trying to be keep it real with them. And my facial expressions, when you tell me I'm going for, I'm trying to think of one of the ones that I've heard that I'm like, what you gonna do with it? It was something somebody said, something out there, and I was like, so even though I'm saying, oh, my face is like, really? And there are certain fields too, like social work and psychology. They're real general, so it's like it's hard to tell like what part of it you're gonna do. Um, Another one is I hear people talk about what's the one shucks. Like if you want to go to be a policeman, you'll get a career in criminal justice. A lot of times those are so general. It's hard to figure out like, well, what exactly are you gonna be able to do? Like, do you have a specific goal in mind? And the one that always throws me off is engineering. Every engineer major that I've met, I ask the same question: what you gonna be doing every day? Because there's so many different types of engineers. And I was telling um, Tyrese, that's Naya's step half brother. I was telling him, I said, what you need to do, because now, he wanted to go to medical school at first. Then he saw what I was involved with it. Then he's like, honestly, that was my mom pushing it. That's not even really what I want to do. So he had switched over because he's doing his first 2 years at junior college, which I highly encourage everybody to do that. People try to discourage that, but I think it's good to start off and take baby steps. Unless some people are just ready for the big deal. But for me personally, I can stand by my decision to do junior college before I went to the university. It was a good move for me. Let me see. Yeah, Tanisha, with some of those degrees, like with like psychology, social work, what's the other one I just said? Yeah, my mind bad. Criminal justice, you have to take it to the next level and get like a master's degree, because the bachelor's degree is going to get you somewhere where you're not really making the money. So I was telling him, look into, I said, right now, whatever you're taking is like your core curriculum, and it's going to go towards pretty much anything you do. You're taking English, math, basic stuff. I said, during this time while you're doing that, start looking into different people who have already um, gotten into a field of study you're thinking about, and ask some questions about the classes. I said, research, and I'm just being realistic, research, how many Black people are in the field, um, what the job qualifications are, what the usual starting salary is, just, general stuff. Because it's like we jump out there, and I just really feel like it's a discredit for students that go and they work hard and they finish and they graduate, and they're not able to find a job in their field, or they're not making the money. And see, school now is way more expensive than when I was in school. So not only have you made your achievement, and you starting out, if you had to do any type of student loan, with this huge debt hanging over your head. So I just think it's so unfair because I call him my nephew. My cousin and I are more like sisters. So her kids call me TT and my daughter calls her TT. But anyway, her son just finished back in December. And she was telling me that he was a little bit discouraged because he's been out and he hasn't found, he's done a lot of interviewing. And this is the other thing I hate about when you're fresh out of school and you're ready to start a job. And the first thing they want to hit you with is you don't have enough experience. Duh, I just got out of school. I can't get experience unless you hire me. So it's so discouraging, and I just feel bad, when hey Kirby Cat, thanks for dropping in. I feel so bad when kids have put all that hard work in, and I was telling him, I said, you gotta pay your dues. I started off making $9 It wasn't a whole lot, but I took it and worked with it until I could get it where I needed it to be. So, hey, Steph Johnson, this is the other part of the good times clip. Steph, I done told him about our humble beginnings in HIM school. And yeah, and I told him about Tanisha's um, breakdown when she found out how much we was going to be making and all of that good stuff. So yeah, it's been that type of conversation. But yeah, I was telling him, don't get discouraged. We all have to kind of pay our dues, a little bit. And he went for something in marketing, and I'm not exactly sure, but like when he was in school, he was working with, I think it was marketing, like with sports medicine type deal. I don't want to say it wrong, but it was a very specific field. And you know, he's been doing a lot of interviewing, but he's hearing that standard, you need more experience. And back when I was in school, that would be a thing too. Like especially if you were trying to get, and it's crazy because we went to school for health information management, meaning management was the ultimate goal. But nobody really is gonna hire you to be a manager. Like I said, I got lucky with that supervisor job. And if you had a smaller facility, you may be able to get a manager's position. But it's hard when you've gone to school and you get out and you think you're gonna just dive into this corporate top notch. You're not gonna do that. They're not going. Well, we all don't get to do that. Some people are a little more, can be a little more privileged than others and may be able to because somebody knows somebody. Because I still say to this day, it's all in who you know. And it's not completely fair, but it's been tried and true from what I've experienced over the years. And I'm not going to say I didn't benefit from it a few times because, there were situations like when I was going through my divorce and I was moving from Florida back to Alabama, I was able to reach out to a friend and just like, look, this is what's going on. Because she had her own HIM, she has her own HIM staffing company. So that's what she does, for a living. But it was an advantage for me because I knew her. But the thing of it is, I also had the background to go with it. So when she recommended me for positions, it's not like I was green and fresh out of school and didn't know what to do with it. I was qualified for the position, but I will say, had I not known her and had that leg up on, where to go to apply, it would have been a lot harder. So, it's not always fair, but it is a true thing that a lot of times it's who you know. And that's why networking is so important. And that's the other thing I noticed about these young people now. Like a lot of them, they can be smart, do well in school, but I blame technology because kids now, they don't do conversation. They do texting. They do IDK and WYA. They don't do sitting down talking to people because everything's on the computer, on the phone, on the game, this, that, and the other. So when it's time to graduate and you gotta go to these jobs and stuff and present yourself, they don't want to see more than a report card. They want to know, especially if you're in a field where you're dealing with people, that you have the ability to network. You can get your point across. You don't want somebody that's afraid to talk to people. And see, my thing was I've always been extremely shy. Yeah, I know a lot of people say they don't believe it, but it's the truth. I have always been extremely shy and very introverted, and I did not talk a lot. But what I realized when I finished school is you can't go in and be a manager or in management and be a wallflower. You got to be able to not only present yourself as approachable, but you got to be able to, enforce guidelines and regulations and be the boss. And if you're meek and mild and sensitive about everything, anything everybody says, it's not gonna work. So I had to kind of make myself jump out there and be more talkative and approachable because, like I said, I had them facial expressions. I mean, it's a reason why I ain't have to fight in school because I looked like if you said the wrong thing, I was gonna whoop your ass. Now that was not who I was, but But that's what this faith was given. And hey, it worked. So I ain't had to fight nobody. But and it's still working because people will not, they don't try me. But yeah, I had to kind of come out, and that for these kids now, and I noticed it because when we have family get-togethers, you know how it is. You haven't seen a lot of the cousins and stuff in a while, and you meet new ones that you haven't met, and you're just kind of like trying to strike up conversation, but they're so tech driven that the conversation is pretty much yes and no answers. They don't expound on anything. They don't know the art of conversation. So that was something that I was really big about working on Naya with. And she used to be, now, true enough, she's very shy. And when you first meet her, she's not going to do a whole lot of talking. But once she gets to know you, she is a. And one thing that I took pride in before she hit the tweens and the teens was she was good with conversation. Like she could talk to anybody and give detailed answers and know how to ask questions. Now she's gotten to that preteen teen stage where it's, yeah, how's everything? Okay. What'd you do today? Nothing much. Where it used to be, well, we blah, 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 we did this, we did that, yada, yada, yada. And, she used to be better at it. So I don't know. Hopefully it's just a stage. But the good part is, even though she's not using it, I know she knows how to if the situation comes up. And I think a lot of times, these kids now, they haven't been exposed, and that's like gonna like hold them back a little bit when it comes to you're competing for a position with somebody that's very vocal and very got the go-getter attitude, and you can see that personality shining through. This child might be 10 times smarter than that one, work twice as hard, but because they don't know the art of conversation and networking, nobody knows. It's like I tell Naya all the time. I say you got this beautiful personality, you're funny, but you know what? If you don't open your mouth, won't nobody know. Don't nobody know but me and you. Why are we keeping it a secret? Share it with the world. So that's my soapbox about the younger generation. Well, I don't even think Niall trying to tell me they're not Generation X or Generation Z. There's something else. Whatever you call them. they're completely into just, to me, electronics, and like they'll talk to you quicker through a text message that you got to get somebody to help you decipher what it means than they will calling you. So it is what it is. Well, anyway, y'all, we have made it to 43 minutes. I am going to get ready to jump off because I have to do some work on this job that I love. Is that about it? Okay. If you bought that, as my friend Tanisha always says, she got some beachfront property in her backyard. She can sell you if you believe it. But I am thankful. I am very thankful that God allowed me to find a field that's been able to help me to take care of myself, my family, my child. So I would never speak ill of that. But I'm going to keep it 100 with you every time and tell you the job is boring as I don't know what. But it paid the bills. So it is what it is. So thank you for everybody that joined in today. Thanks, Tanisha, Stephanie, Kirby Kai. Thank you for coming through. I think I subbed to you the other week when Gio and all them were doing the members appreciation. So I think I'm pretty sure I subbed to you that day. Tanya's Delight Slice by Slice, aka the Hood Table. Thank you for coming through and participating. Relaxing on the couch. Keep on relaxing on the couch, honey. I'm trying to get where you at, okay? So I hope you are enjoying your first day of retirement. And who else got? Is that everybody? Yep, that's everybody came through today. If you're catching it on the replay, please like and subscribe to the page. Please share. And let me see, Tony will, this evening, Tony's going to be doing the, I was doing it last week, where we all get together and talk about the businesses and give business advice. So I'm going to put that link in here. I just added it down at the bottom. So come through and check Tony out. Tony has 288 followers. His goal is to try to get to 300 by the end of the week. There's 12 more followers on YouTube. So guys, check him out. Sub to his page. Tony has good content. He's very positive, very hyper, uh, very funny. So come check him out. It'll be myself, um, Geo from Boss Life Online, Candy from Panda Terra Candy and More, and Tony. And we'll be talking about home-based businesses. So check us out at 6 o'clock. Links down there, and it's also going to be in the description of this video. So I appreciate it if y'all would check them out and sub. And I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Have a great afternoon.